Night's edge, the waning moon, a mere sliver of light, hung in the ashen sky of Aethelgard. In the skin-splitting cold of the night, Selena, leader of the Demon Scale clan, stood atop the highest tower of the black-faced fortress. The wind howled, carrying with it particles of coal ash from the tireless forges below, creating a thick, black fog that enveloped her realm. From this vantage point, Selena could see all of Blackface, the last stronghold of the Demon Scale clan. The sharp, jagged towers stabbed upwards, piercing the sky like demonic fingers, reflecting the lurid red light from the flowing lava snaking between the structures. This desolate scene was the most glaring testament to the decay of Aethelgard, a world dying from hatred and war. People called her by cruel names: Night's Edge, Blood Queen. These appellations, though causing many to tremble, couldn't touch her heart. They were just a shell, an armor she had to forge to survive in this world. Selena was not born ruthless. She had been forced to become that way. The Demon Scale clan, a race possessing extraordinary physical strength and the ability to manipulate shadows, had once been a powerful force. But under the barbaric rule of her father, Zeros, they had been pushed to the brink of extinction. Zeros, a mad tyrant, drunk on war and power, had squeezed every resource from Aethelgard to serve his personal ambition. His brutality was aimed not only at the Pureblood clan, the Demon Scale's eternal enemies, but also inflicted upon the innocent people of his own clan. Remembering those years, a bone-chilling wind blew through Selena's soul. She still remembered vividly the cries of mourning, the pleading looks, and the overpowering stench of blood that haunted her dreams. It was these horrific memories that shaped her determination to overthrow Zeros, even if it meant killing her own father. That bloody rebellion had earned Selena the position of leader, but had also left her with a deep scar. Power, she realized, was a double-edged sword. It could save, but could also destroy. Selena's greatest fear was not failure, but becoming a tyrant like her father. She had seen firsthand what power could do to a person, and she vowed that she would never let it happen to her. But how to keep that vow from becoming a curse? How to rule fairly without losing the strength needed to protect her clan? Those questions gnawed at Selena's mind every day, making her feel lonelier than ever. She couldn't share this burden with anyone in the Demon Scale clan. They worshipped her, feared her, but no one truly understood her. On Selena's back, right between her shoulder blades, was an intricate tattoo of dark red ink. It was the Demon Scale's mark, a symbol of power and the clan's curse. It burned with heat whenever Selena used shadow power, reminding her of the price paid for wielding it. That mark was a part of her, but it was also a boundary, a warning. It reminded her that, no matter how hard she tried, she could never completely escape the darkness that had shaped her. Tonight, that loneliness and burden seemed heavier than ever. Selena reached up, caressing the squiggly lines of the Demon Scale's mark. Was there anyone, just once, who could see her, not as a leader, a blood queen, but just a lonely woman, trying her best to do the right thing? It was at that moment that a blinding light tore through the night. Selena looked up, astonished to see a streak of light descending from the sky. It wasn't a shooting star, but an artificial object, a burning ship plummeting straight towards the black-faced fortress. An omen? Or just an accident? Selena didn't know, but she had a premonition that this sudden appearance would change everything, not just for her, but for the dying world of Aethelgard. And the name Carter Holt would forever be etched into history. The Forsaken Beacon. The golden light of the artificial sun glided softly over the snow-white crystal towers of the City of Light, the heart of the Pureblood clan. Xylan, though familiar with this pristine beauty, couldn't help but feel a prick of sorrow in his heart. This magnificent landscape, a symbol of the Pureblood clan's prosperity and progress, now only brought back painful memories of betrayal and abandonment. Xylan was an elite warrior, raised from childhood to protect the Pureblood clan. He had dedicated his life to honing the power of light, a rare and revered gift among his people. That power allowed him to heal wounds, create dazzling energy weapons, and banish the darkness with pure light. But it was precisely his compassion and thirst for justice that drove Xylan out of the ranks of the Purebloods. During a bloody border conflict with the Demonscale clan, he witnessed cruel acts ordered by his commanders. These orders, cloaked in the name of protection, were in reality senseless massacres aimed at defenseless innocents. Xylan's heart trembled with indignation. He couldn't stand by silently and watch his brethren turn into bloodthirsty demons. He protested, he pleaded, but to no avail. His words were merely considered rebellion, an insult to those in power. You dare question the council's orders? You dare stand against the will of the light? Those accusations still echoed in Xylan's mind, like an unforgivable sentence. He had been stripped of all his titles, stripped of his power, and exiled from the City of Light, banished into the darkness he had sworn to fight. In his months wandering the desolate lands, Xylan witnessed firsthand the suffering and loss caused by the persistent war between the two clans. He realized that the solution didn't lie in destroying the enemy, but in finding a path to peace, a way to end the cycle of violence that had haunted Aethelgard for centuries. He sought out small settlements, areas where both the Demonscale and Pureblood clans coexisted, trying to help heal the wounds and plant the seeds of hope for a better future. But his efforts were often met with suspicion, opposition, even violence. Both clans had grown so accustomed to hatred that they no longer believed in the possibility of another solution. Tonight, Xylan was on his way to one such settlement, located near the border between the two territories. He had heard that a group of Demonscales were preparing to attack this settlement, and he was determined to stop it from happening. He wore his white-silver battle armor, made from a special metal capable of amplifying the power of light. His radiant energy, sword hung at his side, ready for any conflict. But Xylan knew that his real weapon was not physical strength, but his compassion and belief in justice. He hoped that he could persuade the Demonscales to abandon the attack and bring peace to the innocent people. However, as he neared the settlement, Xylan was ambushed. A group of Demonscale warriors, equipped with shadow weapons, descended from the darkness. They quickly overwhelmed him, nullifying his light power with strange devices and binding him with dark, inky chains. As he was brought before Selena, Xylan wasn't afraid. He looked directly into the crimson eyes of the female leader, and he saw there, not mere ruthlessness, but a deep sadness, a burden that she had to carry alone. "What do you seek here, Pureblood Warrior?" Selena asked, her voice cold and sharp as a blade. "I have come to stop this attack," Xylan replied, his voice steady and sincere. "I know that there are innocent people in this settlement, and I cannot let them suffer any more." Selena stared at him, her gaze searching and skeptical. "You think I would believe the words of an enemy?" "I am not your enemy," Xylan said. "I am the enemy of violence and injustice. I believe that there is a better path for both of our peoples." Selena remained silent for a moment, seemingly considering his words. Then suddenly, she laughed, a dry and bitter sound. "You are so naive," she said. "You think you can end this war with pretty words? You understand nothing of this world." "Perhaps I don't," Xylan replied, "but I will not give up hope, and I will not stand idly by while innocent people are killed." Selena gazed deeply into Xylan's blue eyes, and she saw their sincerity that she had never seen before. A spark of hope, small and weak, flickered in her heart. Perhaps, just perhaps, this warrior could bring about a change. Perhaps he could show her another way, a way beyond the darkness that had haunted her for so long. And with that thought, Selena made a decision that could change the fate of all of Aethelgard. Instead of ordering Xylan's execution, she said, "I will give you one chance. You will come with me, and you will prove that your words are not meaningless. If you can persuade me that there is a path to peace, then I will listen to you. But if you fail, I will kill you myself." Xylan nodded, accepting that risky proposition. He knew that the path ahead would be filled with difficulties and dangers. But he also believed that something greater was waiting, a brighter future for Aethelgard. And as Selena and Xylan walked together into the darkness, they were unaware that the destiny of the entire world lay in their hands. This journey would take them to places they had never dreamed of and force them to face the harsh truths about themselves, about the world, and about what was really important in life. Aethelgard, dirge sung from the ashes. Aethelgard was not always a land of death. There was a time when it was a world brimming with vitality, with verdant forests, meandering rivers, and magnificent, splendid cities. But that is a story of the past, of pages of history stained with blood and ash. Today, Aethelgard is a desolate canvas, a relic of the endless war between two races, the demon scale and the pureblood. Hatred has sunk deep into the marrow, turning the earth barren, polluting the sky, and shrouding the future in a thick, black fog. Scars on Mother Earth. The ancient forests, once the pride of Aethelgard, are now just charred tree stumps, standing forlornly in the wasteland. The land is poisoned by dark magic and deadly technologies, making it impossible for plants to flourish, and the creatures struggle to survive. The rivers, once a lifeline for the communities, have now been drained or severely polluted. Water has become a precious commodity, sparking bloody conflicts between tribes and cities. Cities, once symbols of civilization and progress, are now just crumbling ruins. Collapsed skyscrapers, cracked roads, and destroyed statues are evidence of the fierce devastation of war. These scars are not only on the surface, but also deeply rooted in the earth, and in the very souls of the people of Aethelgard. Two sides of decay. The war between the demon scale and the pureblood clans is not just a struggle for resources and territory, but also a conflict of culture and ideology. These two races, although sharing a common origin, have developed in completely opposite directions. The demon scale clan. Appearance: ash-gray skin, blazing red eyes, jet black hair. Tall, muscular bodies with extraordinary physical strength. Culture: worship of darkness and power, living by the law of the jungle. Despise weakness and emotion, valuing ruthlessness and decisiveness. Art: buildings often have bizarre and terrifying shapes, decorated with dark symbols and violent images. Their music often has dark and frenzied melodies, evoking negative emotions. Magic: proficient in shadow magic, able to summon monsters, manipulate minds, and cast deadly curses. The Pureblood clan. Appearance: fair, smooth skin, deep blue eyes, golden blonde hair. Balanced, graceful bodies, with a saintly and pure beauty. Culture: worship of light and progress, living according to strict moral codes. Value peace, justice, and compassion. Art: buildings often have elegant and refined shapes, made from precious materials and decorated with symbols of light. Their music often has melodious and sacred melodies, evoking positive emotions. Magic: proficient in the power of light, able to heal wounds, create energy weapons, and banish darkness. This opposition is not only reflected in appearance, but also permeates every aspect of life. The Demon Scale clan believes that only power can protect them from extinction, while the Pure Blood clan believes that only light and justice can bring peace to the world. That difference has become an insurmountable barrier, causing hatred to escalate and pushing Aethelgard to the brink of destruction. A prophecy of fate. In this decaying world, an ancient prophecy has been passed down from generation to generation. When Night's Edge and the Pureblood Warrior meet, the world will either collapse or be reborn. That prophecy, though bringing a faint glimmer of hope, also contains a deep-seated fear. Will this fateful encounter lead to complete destruction, or will it usher in a new era of peace and prosperity? No one knows for sure. But one thing is certain: the destiny of Aethelgard is in the hands of Selena and Xylan, two humans torn between darkness and light, between hatred and love. Will they be able to overcome their differences, erase their prejudices, and find a common path to save this world? Or will they become instruments in the hands of fate, pushing Aethelgard into a bottomless abyss? The answer, like the winds blowing through the ancient ruins, remains a mystery. The demon scales gaze. Flickering flames danced wildly, casting eerie shadows on the rough stone walls of the dungeon. Xylan, bound to a massive pillar, felt the cold seeping into his bones. He had experienced many battles, but never had he felt so powerless. He, a Pureblood Warrior, a beacon of light, was imprisoned in the dark heart of the Demon Scale clan. Footsteps echoed in the dark corridor, each beat heavy and menacing. Xylan closed his eyes, trying to focus the remaining power of light within him. But the inky black chains wrapped tightly around his wrists seemed to be draining all his energy. The rusty iron door creaked open, revealing a tall, imposing figure. Selena, the Demon Scale's female leader, entered the dungeon. The light from the torch behind her cast a crimson halo around her, making her appearance even more terrifying. Xylan opened his eyes, looking directly at Selena. Her blazing red eyes bored deep into his mind, as if trying to read his every thought, every emotion. In that moment, something strange happened. Though it was only fleeting, Xylan realized that behind that ruthless and cold exterior was a deep loneliness, a burden that she had to carry alone. "Do you have anything to say before I send you back to the dust?" Selena asked, her voice raspy and ice-cold. Xylan took a deep breath, trying to calm himself. "I don't want to die, female leader," he said. "But neither do I want to live in a world where violence and hatred are the norm." Selena raised an eyebrow, seemingly surprised by his answer. "You are a pureblood. You shouldn't speak such words." "I'm a warrior," Xylan said, "but I'm also an Aethelgardian. I believe that we can find another path, a path that does not lead to destruction." "You are too idealistic," Selena sneered. "You understand nothing of this war. You understand nothing of the Demon Scale clan." "I may not understand everything," Xylan replied, "but I know that we are all paying the price for the hatred of our ancestors. We are destroying ourselves bit by bit. If we do not change, Aethelgard will perish." Selena remained silent for a moment, her gaze becoming unreadable. "What do you mean?" "I mean that we need to find common ground," Xylan explained. "We need to learn to see each other not as enemies, but as people who share a world, who share a destiny." "Ridiculous," Selena scoffed. "The Demon Scale clan and the Pureblood clan can never live in peace. We have hated each other for too long." "Then let us change that," Xylan said, his voice full of determination. "Let us break this cycle of hatred. Let us give the next generation a chance to live in a better world." Selena stared intently at Xylan, her eyes as if wanting to pierce through his very soul. She had met many purebloods before, but none had said such words to her. They always seemed arrogant, hypocritical, and full of hatred. But in Xylan, she saw something different, a sincerity that she couldn't deny. "Do you know that if I believe your words, I would be betraying my own people?" Selena asked, her voice deepening. "I know," Xylan replied, "but I also know that you're not a coward. You are the one who overthrew a tyrant. You brought change to the Demon Scale clan. I believe that you have the strength to do the right thing, even if it means going against tradition." Selena's eyes narrowed like razors. "You are risking your life, Pureblood Warrior. Are you not afraid?" "I am afraid," Xylan admitted, "but I'm more afraid of watching Aethelgard perish." A heavy silence enveloped the dungeon. Selena stood there, motionless as a statue, while Xylan still looked directly at her, unyielding. Finally, Selena sighed, a soft, almost inaudible sound. "I will give you a chance," she said, "but remember my words. If you deceive me, I will not hesitate to end your life." "I understand," Xylan replied, a spark of hope flaring in his heart. He knew that the challenge ahead would be anything but easy, but he believed that, with Selena's help, he could bring about a new future for Aethelgard, a future free from the darkness of hatred and war. "Follow me," Selena commanded, then turned and walked away. Xylan silently followed her, leaving the dungeon and stepping into a completely new world, a world where his destiny and Selena's were intertwined forever. In that world, they were not just enemies, but also allies, people sharing a common ideal, and perhaps, one day, lovers. But before that could happen, they still had to face countless trials, overcome their differences, and fight to protect what they believed in. Their journey had only just begun, and the future of Aethelgard remained an open question. The demon scales gaze. Flickering flames danced wildly, casting eerie shadows on the rough stone walls of the dungeon. Xylan, bound to a massive pillar, felt the cold seeping into his bones. He had experienced many battles, but never had he felt so powerless. He, a Pureblood Warrior, a beacon of light, was imprisoned in the dark heart of the Demon Scale clan. Footsteps echoed in the dark corridor, each beat heavy and menacing. Xylan closed his eyes, trying to focus the remaining power of light within him. But the inky black chains wrapped tightly around his wrists seemed to be draining all his energy. The rusty iron door creaked open, revealing a tall, imposing figure. Selena, the Demon Scale's female leader, entered the dungeon. The light from the torch behind her cast a crimson halo around her, making her appearance even more terrifying. Xylan opened his eyes, looking directly at Selena. Her blazing red eyes bored deep into his mind, as if trying to read his every thought, every emotion. In that moment, something strange had happened. Though it was only fleeting, Xylan realized that behind that ruthless and cold exterior was a deep loneliness, a burden that she had to carry alone. "Do you have anything to say before I send you back to the dust?" Selena asked, her voice raspy and ice-cold. Xylan took a deep breath, trying to calm himself. "I don't want to die, female leader," he said. "But neither do I want to live in a world where violence and hatred are the norm." Selena raised an eyebrow, seemingly surprised by his answer. "You are a pureblood. You shouldn't speak such words." "I'm a warrior," Xylan said, "but I'm also an Aethelgardian. I believe that we can find another path, a path that does not lead to destruction." "You are too idealistic," Selena sneered. "You understand nothing of this war. You understand nothing of the Demon Scale clan." "I may not understand everything," Xylan replied, "but I know that we are all paying the price for the hatred of our ancestors. We are destroying ourselves bit by bit. If we do not change, Aethelgard will perish." Selena remained silent for a moment, her gaze becoming unreadable. "What do you mean?" "I mean that we need to find common ground," Xylan explained. "We need to learn to see each other not as enemies, but as people who share a world, who share a destiny." "Ludicrous," Selena scoffed. "The Demon Scale clan and the Pureblood clan can never live in peace. We have hated each other for too long." "Then let us change that," Xylan said, his voice full of determination. "Let us break this cycle of hatred. Let us give the next generation a chance to live in a better world." Shadows in the council. The soft, clinking sound of chains echoed as Selena entered the great hall, Xylan following closely behind. Both could feel the cold gazes fixed upon them, like invisible blades slicing through the air. The great hall, a vast space carved from black obsidian, was where Selena's throne stood, and also where the important meetings of the Demon Scale clan's council took place. Flickering torches cast shadows on the walls, making the bizarre carvings even more terrifying. The atmosphere was thick with tension and suspicion. The Demon Scale Council, an assemblage of the most powerful and ruthless individuals in the clan, had gathered in full force. They were seasoned warriors, dark mages, and cunning politicians, all bearing absolute loyalty to the Demon Scale clan and deep hatred for the Pureblood clan. Their eyes focused on Xylan, a pureblood enemy being led by the female leader. His presence in this great hall was an insult, an incomprehensible act, and a potential threat. "Female leader," a deep, hoarse voice rang out. It was Kale, one of the most powerful members of the council, and also one of Selena's most vehement opponents. "We have the right to know why this pureblood is permitted to step foot in this sacred place." Selena stopped, turning back to face Kale. "Xylan is not a prisoner," she said, her voice ice-cold. "He is my guest, and I will treat him as an equal." Whispers immediately broke out in the great hall. Kale sneered, a sinister smile on his face. "An equal? Is the female leader joking? He is an enemy, a dog of the Pureblood clan. He only deserves death." He saved the life of one of our clan, Selena replied, her voice still maintaining its composure. And he has shown us another path, a path that might lead to peace. Peace! Kale laughed loudly, a grating sound that echoed throughout the hall. Peace is a foolish dream, an unforgivable weakness. The Demon Scale clan can never trust the Pureblood clan. Then how long will we continue this war? Selena asked, her voice full of challenge. Until Aethelgard is completely destroyed? Until there is no one left alive to fight? That question silenced the entire hall. Anxious and suspicious glances were exchanged. War had become an indispensable part of their lives, but they were also beginning to feel weary, jaded by the devastation and loss. We have no other choice, Kale said, but his voice had lost some of its confidence. The Pureblood clan are liars and traitors. We cannot believe anything they say. Then let us prove it, Xylan spoke up, the first time he had made his voice heard in the hall. Give me a chance to prove that not all Purebloods are the same. Give me a chance to prove that peace is possible. Selena looked at Xylan, her gaze full of thought. She knew that bringing a pureblood into the council was an incredibly risky act. It could cause division within her clan, even lead to another rebellion. But she also knew that she couldn't continue to rule with fear and hatred. She needed to find a new path, a path that led to prosperity and peace for the Demon Scale clan. And perhaps Xylan was the key to opening that door. I will give you one chance, Selena said, her voice full of power. But remember my words well. If you deceive me, if you prove that the Pureblood clan cannot change, I will not hesitate to grant you the most painful death you can imagine. Xylan nodded, accepting the risky proposition. He knew that he was walking on a very narrow path, and just one small mistake could cost him his life. But he also believed that he was doing the right thing, and he would not give up hope, even if he had to face any difficulties. Selena signaled to the guards to untie Xylan. He stood up, rubbing his wrists gently, and looked directly at Selena. I will not disappoint you, he said. Prove it, Selena replied, her voice still cold. But in her eyes, Xylan glimpsed a glimmer of hope. From that moment on, Xylan became a part of the Demon Scale clan's council, an outsider, a potential enemy, but also an unlikely companion. He had to learn to navigate political intrigues, had to prove his worth, and had to fight to protect his beliefs. And in that process, he would gradually uncover the darkest secrets of the Demon Scale clan, secrets that could change the fate of all of Aethelgard forever. Whispers in the shadow. The weight of responsibility bore down on Selena, a relentless pressure that threatened to crush her. The council, though outwardly compliant, seethed with unease. Every glance, every carefully worded phrase, was a subtle jab, a reminder that she was walking on a tightrope, one misstep away from losing the power she had fought so hard to claim. To make matters worse, the war raged on, devouring resources and lives with insatiable hunger. In the midst of this turmoil, Selena found an unexpected solace in her secret meetings with Xylan. He was an outsider, an enemy even, but he possessed a clarity of vision that the others lacked. He saw Aethelgard not as a battlefield, but as a world worth saving, a world where peace, however fragile, was possible. These clandestine encounters took place in the hidden alcoves of the Blackface Fortress, places steeped in the clan's dark history, yet offering a semblance of privacy. Surrounded by shadows, they would pore over maps, analyze troop deployments, and debate strategies. But their discussions went far beyond military tactics. Selena found herself drawn to Xylan's unwavering commitment to justice, his unshakable belief in the power of compassion. He challenged her long-held assumptions, forcing her to question everything she thought she knew about the world. Why do you fight, Selena? He asked her one night, his blue eyes piercing through the darkness. Is it for power, for revenge, or for something more? Selena hesitated, taken aback by the directness of his question. She had never truly examined her own motives, too consumed by the immediate task of survival. She looked at Xylan, and for the first time, she saw not an enemy, but a reflection of her own buried humanity. "I fight for my people," she replied, her voice soft, "to protect them from extinction. But at what cost?" Xylan countered, "By perpetuating the cycle of violence. Are you not simply condemning them to a slow and agonizing death?" His words stung, but Selena knew that he spoke the truth. She was caught in a trap, using the same brutal methods as her father, even though she despised him for it. Xylan, in turn, was captivated by Selena's raw strength, her fierce determination, and her unwavering loyalty to her clan. He recognized the weight of her responsibility and admired her willingness to bear it, even when it threatened to break her. "The darkness is a part of you, Selena," he said, reaching out to gently touch the demon scales mark on her back. "But it does not define you. You have the power to choose a different path." In these secret meetings, Selena and Xylan began to learn from each other, to understand each other, and to even, perhaps, trust each other. He shared his knowledge of pure blood technology and strategy, offering insights that the demon scales had never considered. She, in turn, revealed the hidden strengths of her clan, the power of the shadows, and the unbreakable bond of loyalty that held them together. However, their alliance was a dangerous secret, one that could shatter the fragile stability of both clans. Every meeting was a risk, every word a potential betrayal. One night, while reviewing the reports of escalating border skirmishes, Xylan noticed a pattern, a subtle shift in the Pure Blood clan's tactics. It was as if they were deliberately provoking the demon scales, trying to incite them into a full-scale war. "This is a trap," Xylan said, his voice urgent. "The Pure Blood Council wants to provoke you, to give them an excuse to launch a devastating attack." Selena frowned, her eyes narrowing. "Why would they do that?" "They fear you," Xylan replied. "They fear your strength, your independence. They know that you are not easily controlled, and that you might even be willing to consider peace. They want to eliminate you, to restore the old order." Selena felt a chill run down her spine. She had always known that there were forces within the Pure Blood clan who opposed her, but she hadn't realized how desperate they were. "What do you suggest?" she asked, turning to Xylan for advice. "We need to expose their treachery," Xylan said. "We need to show both clans that there are those who are actively working to sabotage any chance of peace." Selena nodded, a grim determination settling in her eyes. "Then that is what we will do. But we must be careful. Our every move will be watched. We cannot afford to make any mistakes." And so, Selena and Xylan, the unlikeliest of allies, began to weave their own web of intrigue, a dangerous game of deception and counter-deception, all in the hope of saving a world that seemed determined to destroy itself. They stepped deeper into the shadows, knowing that their actions could either unite Aethelgard or plunge it into a final, irreversible darkness. Situation assessment: a soldier among royalty. The 4 gray stone walls, carved with grotesque images of shadow monsters and bloody battles, confined Carter within an alien world. The room, according to Selena, was where the female leader received important guests. But for Carter, it felt more like a dark box, where all light and hope were stifled. After the unexpected encounter at the wreckage, Selena had brought Carter to Black Face Fortress, where she reigned as the female leader of the Demon Scale clan. Although he had been treated kindly, given food, water, and a place to rest, he still felt an indescribable unease. He was an outsider, an interloper, and he knew that he was walking a tightrope. Any carelessness could cause him to fall into the abyss. Now, he was waiting for Selena in this somber room. He didn't know what she wanted, nor did he know whether he could trust her. But he knew that he had to be careful, keep his mind clear, and be ready for any situation. Footsteps echoed outside the door, pulling Carter from his wandering thoughts. He stood up straight, clenching his fists, preparing himself for the coming conversation. The door opened, and Selena entered, her demeanor dignified and magnificent. She had changed out of the battle armor, stained with ash, for a long dress of black silk, embroidered with intricate patterns in silver thread. The demon scales mark on her back still burned brightly, but today it no longer carried a terrifying appearance, but but became strangely seductive. "Carter Holt," Selena spoke, her voice no longer as cold as the first time they had met, but softer, perhaps even friendly. "Thank you for waiting." "The female leader is too kind," Carter replied, trying to keep his voice from trembling. "I am deeply honored to be received." Selena approached, stopping in front of Carter. She looked up at him, her blazing red eyes examining him from head to toe. "You are not like other purebloods I have met," she said. "You don't appear arrogant, nor do you appear afraid." "What are you?" Carter took a deep breath, trying to keep any emotion from showing on his face. "I'm just a soldier," he said. "I believe in what I am doing, and I am ready to fight to protect those beliefs." "What do you believe in?" Selena asked, her gaze growing even more probing. "I believe in peace," Carter said. "I believe in justice. I believe that the Demon Scale clan and the Pureblood clan can live together if we are willing to try." Selena remained silent for a moment, then suddenly laughed. "You are still that idealistic?" she said, her voice full of sarcasm. "You truly believe that you can change the world with just pretty words?" "I believe that words have power," Carter replied. "But I also know that actions are much more important. I am willing to prove what I say with actions, if you give me the chance." Selena looked at Carter intently, as if she were weighing his words. "Then what will you do?" she asked. "What will you do to prove that you are not a deceiver?" Carter remained silent for a moment, thinking. "Let me help you," he said. "Let me use my knowledge and experience to help you solve the problems that the Demon Scale clan is facing. Let me show you that I can become an ally and not an enemy." Selena frowned. "You want to help me?" she asked, her voice full of doubt. "Why would you want to do that? Are you not afraid that I will take advantage of you?" "Maybe," Carter admitted, "but I also believe that you are not such a person. I have seen kindness in your eyes, female leader. I believe that you also want peace, also want a better future for Aethelgard." Selena remained silent for a moment, then sighed. "You are truly a difficult person to understand," she said. "But I must also admit that I am curious to know what you will do. I will give you a chance to prove yourself. But don't disappoint me." "I will not disappoint you," Carter replied, a faint smile spreading across his lips. Selena nodded, then turned and walked away. "Follow me," she said. "I have much work to do." Carter followed Selena, leaving the somber room and beginning a new chapter in his life. He knew that he was stepping into a world filled with dangers and challenges. But he also knew that he was in the right place, beside the woman who could change the fate of all of Aethelgard. As he stepped out the door, one of the soldiers stepped forward, bowed, and whispered to Carter, "She doesn't like to be around strangers. You must be important. Trial by fire." Xylan's warning about the impending attack struck Blackface Fortress like a lightning bolt. Selena, after a brief moment of hesitation, acted with the speed and decisiveness that only Knight's Edge could muster. Clear-cut orders were issued. Troops were deployed to the border. Defensive lines were fortified, and dark mages were summoned to strengthen the magical wards. The entire Blackface Fortress shook in the enormous machinery of war. Every gear, every link tightened to prepare for the coming storm. Xylan, though still an outsider, was entrusted with an important mission. He was tasked with training the Demon Scale warriors, imparting to them the skills and tactics he had learned from the Pureblood clan. Initially, his presence caused waves of outrage and dissatisfaction. The Demon Scale warriors, who were used to fighting by instinct and strength, found it difficult to accept the disciplined and methodical tactics that Xylan proposed. "Why must we listen to a pureblood?" A young warrior named Dagon questioned Xylan during the first training session. "What does he know about our war?" "I know about war," Xylan replied, his voice calm but firm. "I have witnessed the terrible things it can cause, and I believe that there is a way to win without sacrificing everything." "You lie," Dagon growled. "Only strength can bring victory. You are just a weakling trying to deceive us." "If you think so, then prove it," Xylan said, drawing his energy sword from its sheath. "I will fight you. If you win, I will leave here immediately." Dagon sneered, his eyes full of challenge. He drew his shadow sword. A black blade formed from pure, dark energy. The battle began. Dagon, with his extraordinary physical strength, attacked Xylan with a whirlwind of blows. But Xylan, though not as powerful, possessed superior speed and agility. He evaded Dagon's attacks, using the power of light to create protective barriers and countered with precise and effective strikes. The fight was extremely fierce. Both warriors gave their all, neither yielding an inch. But in the end, Xylan proved his strength. He defeated Dagon with a single blow, disarming him and pinning him to the ground. Dagon gasped, his eyes full of astonishment and admiration. You really are strong, he said. Strength is not everything, Xylan replied, helping Dagon to his feet. Discipline, tactics, and belief in your comrades, those are the factors that determine victory. After that battle, the respect of the Demon Scale warriors for Xylan increased significantly. They began to listen to him, learn from him, and gradually, they realized that he was not an enemy, but a valuable ally. However, not everyone believed in Xylan. Some members of the council, especially Kale, still doubted and opposed him. They believed that Xylan was trying to manipulate Selena, and that he was just a pawn in a larger conspiracy. Kale approached Selena, expressing his worries. "Female leader," he said, his voice full of respect, but also unable to hide his unease. "I'm concerned about the Pureblood's influence on you. He is changing you, making you weaker and more vulnerable." Selena looked at Kale, her gaze cold. "Do you doubt my loyalty?" she asked. "No, female leader," Kale replied quickly. "I am only concerned for your safety and for the survival of the Demon Scale clan. The Purebloods are not to be trusted." "Xylan has proven his worth," Selena said. "He has helped us prepare for the coming war. He has taught our warriors new skills. I trust him, but affection can cloud reason," Kale said. "You are risking too much, female leader. You are placing the fate of the Demon Scale clan into the hands of a stranger." Selena remained silent for a moment. She knew that Kale had a point. She was trusting Xylan, a person from a race that she had hated for her entire life. It was risky. The intersection of storm and light. In the days that followed, Selena and Xylan immersed themselves in preparing for war. However, amidst the tense meetings and rigorous training sessions, they still found moments of peace, periods where they could share their innermost thoughts and feelings. One night, after completing their review of intelligence reports, Selena and Xylan sat together in the Black Face Garden. The garden, a strange oasis within the fortress, was decorated with exotic flowers that shimmered in the darkness. These flowers were created from cooled lava, meticulously carved into intricate shapes and illuminated by glowing obsidian stones. The air was still, with only the sound of wind passing through the mountain passes and the tinkling of dripping lava. Selena, relaxing her body, leaned back against a warm stone. Xylan sat beside her, quietly gazing at her face. "What do you think about the future, Xylan?" Selena asked, breaking the silence. Xylan pondered for a moment, then replied, "I think Aethelgard can become a better place. A place where the Demon Scale and Pureblood clans can live together, without war, without hatred." "Are you still that idealistic?" Selena asked, but her voice no longer held sarcasm. "Perhaps," Xylan replied, "but I believe that if we have no hope, then we have already lost." Selena looked up at the sky, where the waning moonlight was shining through the dark clouds. "I don't know if that can be achieved," she said. "There is too much hatred, too much suffering. I don't know if we can overcome it all." "We cannot do it alone," Xylan said, reaching out to take Selena's hand. "But if we try together, then we can do it. I believe in you, Selena. I believe that you have the strength to change the world." Xylan's hand was warm and steady, transmitting a new source of energy to Selena. She looked at him, her eyes gleaming with a spark of hope that she had once thought she had lost. "I hope so too," Selena said, squeezing Xylan's hand. "But I don't know if I have the strength to do it. I have had to do too many ruthless things. I have witnessed too much suffering. I don't know if I can become a good ruler." "You don't need to be perfect," Xylan said. "You just need to be yourself. Be the strong, decisive, and compassionate woman that I have met. Be Selena, Knight's Edge, who dared to overthrow a tyrant to protect her people." Selena smiled, a gentle and sincere smile. "You are so strange," she said. "You are the only person in this world who dares to say such words to me." "Perhaps it's because I'm not afraid of you," Xylan replied. "I respect you, I admire you, and perhaps I also love you. But I'm not afraid of you." Selena remained silent for a moment, then turned her face away, avoiding Xylan's gaze. She was unfamiliar with being loved, with someone seeing inside her true self. It made her feel confused, vulnerable, and utterly afraid. "Don't say such things," Selena said, her voice turning cold. "There can be nothing between us. I am the female leader of the Demon Scale clan, and you are a Pureblood Warrior. We are enemies." "I don't believe that," Xylan said, gently lifting Selena's chin. "I believe that we can overcome all barriers, all prejudices. I believe that love can conquer all." Selena looked into Xylan's deep blue eyes, and she saw their sincere and unconditional love. A love that demanded nothing, judged nothing, just simply accepted her, loved her, no matter who she was, no matter what she had done. In that moment, Selena was unable to restrain her emotions. She reached out and embraced Xylan, burying her face in his shoulder, and wept. Those tears, the first tears in so many years, were not tears of weakness, but tears of release. She had finally found someone she could trust, someone she could love, and someone she could share the burden on her shoulders with. Xylan held Selena tightly in his arms, gently stroking her jet black hair, and whispered comforting words. He said nothing, promised nothing, simply was there for her, letting her know that she was not alone. In that moment, amidst the darkness of the Demon Scale Garden, a flame of love and hope ignited, dispelling the dark clouds and bringing a glimmer of light to the future of Aethelgard. But they were unaware that this flame would also attract the attention of dark forces, those who were plotting to destroy their world. The coming war would not only be a war between two races, but also a war between light and darkness, between love and hatred, and between hope and despair. Blood-soaked dawn, forging eternal bonds. The piercing shriek of the siren tore through the tranquil night, shattering the lingering dreams within the black citadel. Selena bolted upright, her heart hammering against her ribs. She had awaited this moment for so long, but now that it had truly arrived, she couldn't shake off a sense of unease. Beside her, Carter had already awakened. He quickly donned his battle armor, his gaze unwavering and ready. "They're here," he said, his voice low and gravelly, but resolute. Selena nodded, rising to her feet. She draped a black cloak over her shoulders, caressed the demon scale mark on her back, and summoned her shadow blade. "Let's go," she said. "We have a war to fight." Together, they left the room, stepping into the corridor and joining the stream of people hurrying towards their battle stations. The Black Citadel had awakened, the demon scale warriors with tense faces preparing for a life-or-death struggle. As Selena and Carter emerged from the city gates, a scene of chaos and devastation unfolded before them. The Pureblood army, equipped with energy weapons and modern war machines, was relentlessly assaulting the Demon Scale's defensive line. Explosions echoed through the air, energy beams tore across the sky, and the agonized cries of fallen soldiers filled the air. Selena gritted her teeth, a surge of anger coursing through her. The Purebloods had betrayed her, launched a surprise attack, and inflicted tremendous damage on her people. "This is what they've chosen," Selena said, her voice laced with resentment. "Then we'll show them what the ferocity of the demon scales truly is." She swung her shadow blade, summoned a legion of nightmarish shadow creatures, and charged headlong into the enemy ranks. Carter followed close behind, his light powers radiating outwards, dispelling the darkness and healing the wounds of his comrades. The battle raged fiercely. Both sides fought with courage and unwavering determination. The Demon Scale warriors, driven by the need to protect their families and homeland, fought with a rare display of valor. The Pureblood Warriors, equipped with advanced weaponry, attacked with chilling precision and ruthlessness. Selena, as the female chieftain, led the charge, plunging into the most dangerous areas, eliminating enemies with brutal and efficient strikes. Carter, acting as an ally, supported her, protected her, and instilled in her a sense of calm and hope. The two fought side by side, as if they had done it hundreds of times before. They coordinated seamlessly, complementing each other's weaknesses and forming an unstoppable force. As Selena and Carter fought, the warriors of both races began to realize something strange. They saw that their two leaders, whom they had once considered enemies, were fighting for a common goal: the survival of Aethelgard. They saw that, despite coming from different cultures, despite holding conflicting beliefs, Selena and Carter shared a compassion, a desire for justice, and a love for this world. And upon realizing that, the warriors began to fight not only for their own people, but also for a greater cause, a future where everyone could live in peace. The battle lasted all day. Blood flowed, and lamentations echoed across the battlefield. But as the sun began to peek over the horizon, a miracle occurred. The Pureblood army, after hours of combat, began to falter. They realized that they could not defeat the demon scales, and that this war would only lead to the destruction of both sides. And then, something unexpected happened. One of the Pureblood generals, who had witnessed the brutality of the war, decided to stand up against the council's orders. He lowered his weapon and called on the other soldiers to do the same. "Enough!" he shouted, his voice resonating across the battlefield. "We cannot continue killing each other. We must find a path to peace." The Pureblood soldiers, after a brief moment of hesitation, began to lay down their arms. They were tired of war, they were sick of hatred, and they were ready for change. Seeing this, the Demon Scale warriors also lowered their weapons. They had witnessed Carter's courage and nobility, and they believed in his promises of a better future. Silence fell over the battlefield. The sounds of heavy breathing, groaning, and the wind blowing through the ruins. Then a single clap echoed, followed by more claps, and finally, the entire battlefield erupted in a massive, endless applause. Selena and Carter stood amidst the battlefield, watching the people of both races embrace each other, crying, laughing, and beginning to heal the wounds of war. They had won, not by brute force, but by the power of love and compassion. As the dawn broke, a new future opened before them, a future where the Demon Scales and the Purebloods could coexist, without war, without hatred. Aethelgard, at last, had a chance to be reborn. Carter turned to Selena, his eyes radiant. "We did it," he said. "We changed the world." Selena smiled, a radiant and hopeful smile. "No, Carter," she said. "We're just getting started." She took his hand, and together they walked towards the future, towards a new Aethelgard, built on the foundations of love, justice, and peace. The radiant dawn illuminated the path ahead, dispelling all darkness, and bringing a promise of a better world, where dirge had given way to a love song full of hope.